Straight up, I never even realized the fact that this is a seasonal movie for Valentine's Day. You know, that holiday for people who have enough social skills to acquire a partner. Yeah, it couldn't be me. Anyways, we should probably start talking about the actual movie. The trailers are super misleading when it comes to this film. All of the promo makes it seem like Iris, the robot, is evil, when in reality, her owner is the villain, and Iris is the final girl, if that makes any sense. So this plot makes for a decent horror-adjacent film. Yeah, you heard me right, horror-adjacent. I keep hearing everybody talk about how this is a horror film, when it really isn't. It's most definitely just a comedy with a bunch of blood. That's it. There's nothing truly scary in the entire movie. Jack Quaid is in it, and I like him and all, but he's definitely one of those actors who just plays the same character in everything they're in. So needless to say, Jack Quaid is Jack Quaid. It's just the same dude he's been playing for like the last 3 years, which is fine, but you know, it would have been better to see him play more of a unique character. However, he never really gets old, and I do like him as an actor, and his character in this film is in fact serviceable. But by far, Sophie Thatcher is the best part of this film. Essentially, mostly in the first act, she acts just human enough, but there's something very off about the way her eyes move. She like kind of acts a little strange in the first act, and it makes you think, okay, maybe she's a robot. However, she's human enough to not arouse suspicion. The overall outfits and wardrobe for Iris are very on cue for the character. They're very doll-ish, which makes sense because that's essentially what she is, to her owner at least. The whole film is a very obvious misogyny metaphor, and it works very well. However, there are many plot holes, MacGuffins, and just huge writing issues with the screenplay. I could write a whole book breaking down the many script problems. That being said, a lot of the plot holes and writing issues with this film have to do with the technology of Iris. And so I guess in sci-fi there are bound to be some plot holes when it comes to technology, but there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense about how Iris is built and where she stores like her spit, or like her, like how does her hair grow? Like, it's just, there's a lot of questions that I have about Iris and the technology and how she works. Maybe that can be explored in a sequel, but there are definitely a lot of plot issues and writing issues, but they're mostly pretty minor, you know. It's nothing too crazy. You're not really going to notice it at first unless you're really paying attention, so it's not that big of a deal, but there are definitely a lot of plot holes, mostly to do with the tech. That being said, however, there is a lot of cool little like technology references in the film, or in my mind, my headcanon is that throughout the film, Iris, when she gets turned off, you can just say to her, Iris, go to sleep, and then she just like turns off, and her eyes go completely white. And I thought that was really cool because when she wakes back up, her pupils and irises come back to the eyes instantaneously. And so I realized that the reason why they come back instantaneously when she's turned back on, and the reason why they disappear when she's turned off, is because her eyeballs are LCD screens, and they are recording a video of human eye movements because they couldn't replicate human eye movements. You know, it's just little small tech like that I find to be really interesting in this film. The trailer shows way too damn much and too little at the same time, somehow. I think it would have been better if they only showed the film as a romantic movie, maybe a rom-com, and then once you see the film, you realize that it's a horror-adjacent bloody comedy, and Iris has been a robot this entire time. I feel like it would have been better if it was marketed where Iris was human, and then you'd have to watch the movie to figure it out. Would have been a better twist, in my opinion. However, I think that would have maybe muddied up the audience for the film, because it would have been a lot of people expecting a rom-com, and then if they saw a horror-adjacent film, they would have been disappointed, and it would have affected the ratings, if that makes any sense. So Companion would have been a lot better as a full off-the-leash horror movie. There are so many chances to have really scary, gory scenes in a robot horror film, kind of like Megan 2 years ago, if anybody remembers Megan. Like, they're making a sequel to that, which it's concerning why it's taking so long, but if anybody remembers Megan from like 3 years ago, that's kind of what Companion could have been. It could have been a really gory, genuinely scary robot film. Let me paint you a picture. I want you to imagine a scene where somebody is running for their life from Iris, but she gets down on all fours all of a sudden and starts running at full possible speed She tackles him, and then she begins to eat him alive, blood flying everywhere in the middle of the woods in the night, and maybe her eyeballs are lit up or something. Like, there are just so many really good ideas for a robot horror film, and there can be some genuinely scary shit you can do with a robot. Because if you think about it, robots, you know, they can contort and twist and do all this weird, freaky body horror shit, and it could have been really good as a full horror movie, but they ended up making more of just kind of a raunchy comedy. Which is great, because those kind of went out of existence after around 2007. So I'm gonna give this a solid 7.5 out of 10. It's a pretty decent film. I just wish it was a full horror movie. I'm gonna review Hard Eyes when it comes out. Peace out.